NBA legends call Shaq the most dominant player to ever enter the league. Others call him Shaq Daddy, or the Big Diesel after his roots in hip-hop. Regardless, the 7'1" giant carries one of the most impressive legacies today. But how good was Shaquille O'Neal really? Stay tuned to find out. Shaq's dominance was obvious from a young age. He was always the biggest kid in class. At age 13, he was already standing at 6'7", the average height of an NBA player. His size meant he was the toughest in his age group, and he showed it. Shaq would beat kids up and even almost became a juvenile delinquent. Luckily, he was eventually disciplined by the tough love of his stepfather, Sergeant Philip Harrison. It was also Harrison that developed the young Shaq's love for the game, often taking him to the military camp to play ball. Shaq went on to attend high school at Cole, where he led them to a record 68 wins and just one loss. He carried them on his back, helping them secure a state championship in the senior year. His performance led to offers from universities flooding at the door. Out of all of them, he chose Louisiana State. Standing at 7'1", nearly 300 pounds with a 7'7" wingspan, it was no wonder that Shaq was seen as a monster, a freak of nature. Playing for LSU, he averaged 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Having a GOAT in the making in the palm of their hands, the Orlando Magic selected Shaquille O'Neal as the first overall pick in the 1992 NBA Draft. The arrival of Shaq to the league was often called the second coming of Wilt Chamberlain, and his rookie year alone, he was already living up to the expectations. He averaged a ridiculous 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks. He was awarded almost unanimously the Rookie of the Year award and was the first rookie since Michael Jordan to be selected to the All-Star game. Safe to say, Shaq changed the NBA as a part of 3 dynamic duos throughout his career. Being drafted into the Orlando Magic, Shaq had the opportunity to play next to star Penny Hardaway, who he met on a movie set for Blue Chips. The two young men had great chemistry and everyone was expecting them to be the next Kareem and Magic. And for the most part, they delivered. They gave the Orlando Magic its first playoff series win and its first finals appearance. They also set the franchise record to date of most won games in a season with 60 wins. Let's not forget that this legendary team with Shaq was the only one to knock the Chicago Bulls with the prime Michael Jordan out of the playoffs. If there was one thing that the duo's legacy lacked, it was an NBA title. Orlando was continuously improving as every year passed. At one point, they got very close to getting a ring. However, they were just never able to seal the deal. Now, you could say that this was because Penny and Shaq didn't reach their primes yet, but you could also say that Shaq was too immature during those years. Even he himself admits to this. But the sheer competition they had to face was insane, including the likes of defending champions at that time, the Houston Rockets, who had Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. Likewise, they also had to face one of the best teams of all time, the 1996 Chicago Bulls, which boasted the likes of Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and the legendary Michael Jordan. Nobody thought much of when Shaq became a free agent. After all, why would he want to leave a good team? But Orlando didn't think Shaq was worth how much he was asking for. And knowing Shaq, he got pissed. The big man went on to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he met the Black Mamba himself, Kobe Bryant. Initially, the Lakers struggled and couldn't seem to perform when it came to the playoffs. That's when Shaq finally decided to take things seriously. He spent the offseason grinding in the gym instead of his usual partying and movie-making routine. By the time the season started, he was in the best shape of his life and had the help of newly hired head coach Phil Jackson. He broke out with an insane 30 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks a night, earning him his first and only MVP in the 2000 season, while also winning his first championship that year. His team with the Lakers and Kobe was so dominant that they continued to terrorize the league, winning 3 back-to-back championships. His performance saw him win the Finals MVP award in 3 consecutive years, something only the greatest of greats pulled off. By 2003, their reign was finally halted by the legendary Spurs team led by Tim Duncan. Going forward, the Lakers were never the same team again. They tried to form what seemed to be an unbeatable super team by signing the likes of Gary Payton and Karl Malone. Unfortunately, they had little to no chemistry and fell short to the Pistons in the 2004 NBA Finals in just 5 games. By this time, Shaq and Kobe had enough of each other. Shaq complained that Kobe was selfish. Meanwhile, Kobe complained that Shaq was lazy and fat. This was true. Shaq was nearing 400 pounds and never seemed to put in the same effort as his MVP season. The Lakers had to make a choice, either Shaq or Kobe. The other had to go. And so, Shaq was traded to the Miami Heat, forming yet another dynamic duo with star player Dwayne Wade. We all know Heat culture is all about grit and toughness, and so Miami had a rule where players had to be in the 10% body fat range. This forced Shaq to slim himself all the way down to just 320 pounds. He was motivated by wanting to prove the Lakers made the wrong choice. That year, he was second in the MVP race, just behind Steve Nash himself. And in 2006, he was again in the NBA Finals with the chance to win another ring. Even though he wasn't the Finals MVP he once was, O'Neal fulfilled his promise to win a title for Miami, the first in the history of the franchise. Unfortunately, that same championship marked the end of Shaq's winning era. After his fourth ring, Shaq's performance steadily declined. Even Superman had his kryptonite. For Shaq, it was his left knee that needed surgery just one season after winning the championship. As he got older, he was even more prone to injury. This plagued him even beyond his days in Miami. He went on to join the likes of Steve Nash's Suns, the young LeBron's Cavs, and Boston with their Big Three. But the Diesel was gaining years and pounds while losing the spring in his step. He never found success again with the teams he joined. The last accolade he ever won was the 2009 All-Star Game MVP, which he shared with the late Kobe Bryant. After tearing his Achilles in 2011, Shaquille O'Neal finally decided that it was the right time to step off the court forever. And so, after 19 years of playing in the NBA, he finally retired. Shaq left behind him a legacy that didn't just impact him, but the game of basketball itself. In fact, some might not know this, but he was the main reason why several changes were made in the NBA. The first included changes to the basketball hoops themselves. At the time, the monumental force in Shaq's dunks could literally tear down the rim. In fact, he broke 19 of them. Videos of these are scattered on the internet, the big man shattering the backboard or just bringing down the entire support beam altogether. It's fun to watch, but at the time, it caused games to be delayed. It was also concerning that Shaq might accidentally hurt himself. Fortunately, the league took immediate action so that the incident would never occur again. They mandated that every team reinforce their backboard and support stands, essentially making them Shaq-proof. In 2017, long after Shaq retired, another rule change was made in his memory. This one was to the infamous Hack-a-Shaq rule. If O'Neal had a weakness in game, it was his free throws. Throughout his whole career, he shot just 52.7% from the free throw line. This was enough to make teams intentionally foul him for a chance at getting a comeback. The league realized that no one wanted to watch a single person shooting free throws over and over again. This is why the NBA now prohibits intentional fouls during the last 2 minutes of the game. Though Shaq had lots of great things going for him, his commitment to the game was questioned several times during his career. Phil Jackson even went on to say that Shaq was the laziest player he ever worked with. He was only ever in shape during the 2000 season. He often blew off practice and preferred partying. This lack of effort combined with his ego was what caused the numerous conflicts he had with his teammates, coaches, and front office alike. In an interview, Kobe says that if Shaq had his work ethic, he would 100% be the greatest player of all time. He could have possibly surpassed Michael Jordan. Check it out.
Who would Shaq be if he had your work ethic?
He'd be the greatest of all time.
But Shaq wasn't about that. He was a charismatic rock star that wanted to enjoy his life to the fullest. And even with the lifestyle he had, Shaquille O'Neal still won 4 rings, a feat most NBA players could only ever dream of. He led the NBA in scoring 10 times and averaged 23.7 points, 10.9 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks throughout his career. The speed he had at his size was never seen before in the NBA. He was like an unstoppable train when he ran the fast break. Other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, there was no other center that could match Shaq's resume for individual and team achievements. He boasts 4 NBA titles, a Rookie of the Year award, and a regular season MVP award, both of which were almost unanimous. Shaq was just 1 vote away from being the first unanimous MVP in history, taking the title away from Steph Curry. At age 23, he was already deemed one of the 50 greatest players of all time on the NBA's 50th anniversary. The 15-time All-Star and 2-time scoring champion made the All-NBA team 14 times and the All-Defensive team 3 times, cementing himself as a Hall of Famer in 2016. The way he dominated the game changed the league forever, and his legacy will live on for future generations to admire. Where do you think Shaq ranks among the best centers to ever play in the NBA? Let us know in the comments below. If you love Shaq and his antics as much as we do, let us know by giving the video a thumbs up. Between his height and weight, Shaq was one of the biggest players in NBA history. But what about the smallest NBA player in Muggsy Bogues? Click the next video to find out. Go ahead and click it. It's free.